I'm Karima Brown. It's Sunday and it's time for The Fix. Welcome to this edition of The Fix, where every Sunday we hold those in power to account. We tell you what matters, how it affects you, and why you should care. COVID-19, the lack of cash and credibility are among some of the ANC's hurdles it will have to cross this year if it is to claw back support in critical metros it lost during the last municipal government elections in 2016. The party's January 8th statement has outlined its line of march, and to tell us how they are going to operationalize their election machinery, I'm now joined by the ANC's head of elections, Fikile Mbalula. Minister, thank you so much for joining me here on the very first 2021 edition of The Fix. Let's get straight to it. Do you have the money to run this year's local government elections? We all know that elections are very, very expensive things, but we've got COVID-19. So does that help you a little bit with the fact that you are obviously cash-strapped?
We raise money. We have never had money all the years throughout the campaigns the ANC have undertaken. The season of election invite on us to go out and raise money from those who believe in our ideals and to support democracy and the African National Congress. So we will fundraise. I mean, we don't have money. Like you say.
Okay, but give us a ballpark figure. What kind of cash do you need to run a very effective, very sleek campaign?
I can't now. It depends on the duration. If the election is long, over a period of time, it's costly. But if it is short and, straight to the point, it depends on what the IEC will say under the new regulations. But for us to win, we don't need less than, R1 billion. And we don't even get to that point most of the time.
Now, a billion is quite a large sum of money to raise. And we saw how trying to raise these funds has actually gotten the party into hot water because it has led to abuses and outright corruption. And one of the things that is in your draft document that's supposed to guide how candidates go about putting themselves in front of the community is that you've asked people to run open campaigns in front of the communities, but not to use money to print T-shirts and paraphernalia. This is now for the community process, because your candidate selection process provides for what is called an open community vote using ballot papers following a community meeting where candidates should all answer the same 4 questions. And then the guidelines also outline safe COVID-19 practices during this process, which of course kicks off in terms of this document, in March. So how are you going to manage the question of money inside the party when local candidates put themselves up in front of the communities?
Besides the January 8th statement, the guidelines are very clear in terms of corrupt activities we have encountered, particularly where money has changed hands, and also our fundraising will be more alert. I mean, it is very difficult when people support the party and yet they are involved in corrupt activities. We only discover that as an after effect, but we accept funding as our policy without any strings attached, meaning anyone who gives us money, it is not with a form of blackmail and so on. That is the ANC policy. So we've got to learn from experience and basically ensure that we try by all means necessary to ensure that those who fund the party do that within the law, but at the same time we avoid monies that come from questionable, characters.
Okay, so Minister, obviously the law that has now taken into effect that is going to require all political parties to actually tell us where their monies come from is not effective for this municipal election. But would you, for example, speak to the spirit of that legislation that says parties must declare where they get money from? Is the ANC considering as a gesture toward, the principle of transparency to say, listen, we've managed to raise X and these are the people that we've managed to raise the money from? Particularly if you look at the fact like you have someone who gave the party money regularly who's now facing charges of corruption linked to your Secretary General Ace Magashule.
Look, in advanced democracies, and it's part of a democracy, that funding must be declared. Even the ANC, you would have seen that ANC people fundraise for their campaigns to be elected, to fund vote buying and all of that. These things must be declared, Sakina. You can't continue to deal with these things. Yeah, sorry.
I know, Sakina and I do look alike.
I don't know why that name comes to my mind. I'm sorry about that. In advanced democracies, you know that funding has got to be declared, and ours is no exception to that. People who fund the ANC supporting democracy and who genuinely are business people and have got money and believe in the ideals of the ANC, there's no reason why they must hide their money. Whether they make their money through state tenders, legitimate tenders, whether they make their money in the private sector, they must declare that money. And that is what the legislation and the spirit of it is about, so that we don't have the experience we've had that people are beneficiaries on the other hand and misusing even the name of the ANC to get into those spaces. In fact, the ANC get peanuts and individuals amass billions, but yet they get money and tenders on the basis that they fund the party. So declaration, it shouldn't affect the ANC in relation to those who fund it on the basis of the belief of its ideals from genuine business people who either do business with the state or do business privately.
Okay, so essentially, Minister, in short, we can actually, in communities, tell community members that when these candidates come and make themselves available and answer those questions, communities can actually ask them how they are raising money to run their campaigns, and there will be transparency. Let's look at the question around making, candidates, mayoral candidates, available before the time. We all know that this is a party political system, and you have moved away from that to at least make your big metro mayoral candidates public. Are there other levels at a municipal level where people are also going to be made available so that people can see whether corrupt people aren't being recycled, so that proper vetting processes can in fact take place?
The ANC is going to run a people-centered campaign. That is what local government is about. And where questionable characters, through that engagement with the people, come to the fore in terms of whatever the communities will actually raise. We have seen, in terms of the by-elections we have won, we have already done this that we're talking about, that where people are questionable and that they've not amassed enough, mandate at the ground level, the ANC have put them aside, and we have elected representatives of the people. And that is what has actually earned the ANC integrity among the masses, and also won us elections in many areas, like we have seen in the recent past when we won the by-elections. One of the winning feature of that election is a people-driven public representative process by the African National Congress.
Okay, so let's take a short break. When we come back, we look at the quotas for women, the question around youngsters having to be part of the list, and also people with experience. Don't go anywhere.